My camera and audio is off, right, Kelly?
Your audio is not off, my dude.
Oh no! Caught in the natural state.
All right. Well, as people continue to pop in, lovely to see everyone this morning. As some of you know, my name is Kelly. I'll be hosting us today. And we have the wonderful gift of our dear Dharma brother, Birdie, will be giving us just a quick Dana talk to talk a little bit about why he's here, why it's important, why the concept of Dana is important, and invite you all to do what you can. So turning it over to you, Birdie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and hello everybody. I'm very thankful to be here. Yeah, I wanted to take a few minutes to share my gratitude and saying thank you to Lama and to everybody in the Sangha who's volunteering on providing, every Sunday teachings, access. Since COVID started, Lama really started to provide these teachings as soon as the pandemic started. And I think it benefited a tremendous amount of people, including ourselves in the Sangha, especially in these difficult times. So I'm very thankful for that, plus all the online teachings and the retreats that we're doing. Usually we do it in person, but, in the last year and a half, things have really shifted temporarily, but, we have this ability to connect together and, and really share the practice and sustain ourselves in our practice and in benefiting others. So I wanted to say thank you for Lama and for everybody who's helping him setting this up all the time. So I'm very thankful for that. And, especially in light of what's happening today in the world and, the major problem we're seeing, you've seen recently what's happening in Afghanistan or what's happening with, major climate crisis and other things, but things everywhere in the world are getting, in a way, more and more challenging at the planetary scale. And, I think this is a result of our collective actions due to our ignorance and the fact that, we individually are making decisions that are, tend to be very self-centered and selfish, and, our grasping and our attachments create all these problems in the world. And I think more than ever today, it's critical to tame our minds and to, make sure that we're acting in a way that benefits others and the planet and our children and grandchildren. Because if, we can't continue in this direction, and, there's, I think accessing these teachings is difficult. It takes a lot of circumstance for anybody to come across access to practice or interest in meditation or spirituality. And I think these things are, one could say it's based on your karma, but it also, I think, based on your own intentions and what causing circumstances that create these situations where we have access to these things. So I wanted to share my personal experience with you guys. So I'm French originally, but I've been in the US since the late 90s. I arrived in those early 20s working on Wall Street, all excited and working in investment banking. And my mom almost passed away when I was in the early 20s. So I got access to a book on Buddhism from my father, and I got I was quite interested, but didn't really follow through. I was 22 and just really busy in banking, and also frankly discovering New York City coming from the French Alps. So but a few years later, my father actually discovered Awakening the Buddha Within, the book from Lama Surya. Somebody had left it in a closet in a house in Dominican Republic where he lived. Somebody rented it, and he read it, was inspired, and suggested that I read it, and I got inspired. And then I went to France to work for a couple of years in Paris, but then I came back to New York, and due to my life circumstance, which is often funny the case, it's usually when things don't go right that you're trying to ask yourself, okay, what can I do to change things? And I was going through a difficult illness. After one day I was jet skiing in South Pacific, the next day I was in a wheelchair, and then started to really realize a lot of things, and develop humility, and realize that life is can change, things can change quickly, and through also difficult divorce, difficult situation with my couple at the time, and at some point I just couldn't function anymore. Ended up in depression, couldn't work because of my illness, and difficult personal life. And then I somehow looked online and said, oh, let me check what Lama Surya is doing. And I saw there was a retreat happening a week later, funny enough. And, I would say that in a regular situation, it would have been difficult for me to say, okay, I'm going to spend a week silence in a place with people I don't know, doing something I barely know. I mean, I would do some meditation on my own, but without any guidance. And when I went to the retreat, the circumstances pushed me to go there. So I went there, and I can't, after 2 days of sitting and receiving transmission and teachings from Lama Surya, my depression was gone, even though I had fighting it for quite a while through therapies and other things. So that really struck me, and so really started studying with Lama Surya since 2010. So it's been 11 years now, and you can imagine how much I feel benefited with the guidance and the help, the blessings and the healing I got through him. What I really inspired me with Lama Surya is that he was really living by example. He, to me, embodies the teachings. As a human being, we all face difficulties and issues, and Lama lost his wife and went through a lot of difficulties like everybody else. And yet, in the last decade, I've never seen, he's always embodied the Bodhisattva. He's always embodied, love and wisdom. And despite all, whatever his personal circumstance may have been, he's never moved an inch from that light and that compass. So, to me, it's like extremely rare to meet teachers. At first, rare to meet teachings, like spiritual teachings and meditation teachings, but on top of that, rare to meet genuine, authentic masters that hold a pure lineage of enlightened masters and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So it's I think, I feel extremely thankful in the way these teachings have helped me during my life. I've always had an interest in nature and helping, but I was a banker, and I guess through my spiritual practice, I was able to find more confidence in helping myself and also helping others. And my father, who's now 81 and quite sick, who's the one who introduced me to Lama Surya through this book that he found, but he actually through my friend and the Sangha, my friend Drew inspired me to teach my dad how to meditate. And that's been life-changing for him and really stirred his life and mine as well. So I was, I think, through these practices, through this benefit that we're getting, we can affect not only our lives, but those of others around us. And it's a really beautiful thing. So I want to say thank you for this. And, it's really priceless to me. And I think that, seeing Lama just, offering these teachings for free and guiding people, and not we're not in the business of selling Dharma, right? So it's really an act of generosity and an act of kindness and an act of benefiting, and seeking to help others. But as these things, people need to be able to sustain, the organization needs to sustain itself. And, I think a lot of us benefit from this, but I think it's very important for everyone to, if they can, help in any way, shape, or form to support the teaching and support the Dzogchen Foundation. And I think, there's different ways to do that. You can make donations, or you can become a member doing recurring donations. But I think, it's really priceless and deserving of gratitude and support. And, to be cynical, for the most practical of us, to believe in the laws of karma, in the laws of the universe. What goes around comes around. So, for the most practical too, performing generosity is a great way to benefit oneself as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to Lama and to everybody, and I hope that all of you will consider providing donations and supporting these teachings, which are so beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you. For those of you wondering how you can do that, there's a link in the chat that you can click on. You can also go to dzogchenfoundation.org and donate there, and every little bit counts. So thank you so much, Bertie, for sharing your personal story and connection. It is, it's a beautiful gift that we have the access that we do. That there's 75 of us on right now and countless others on Facebook able to access our dear Lama, who without further ado, I will see if we can magically make him appear again. Turn his camera back on.
Da, da, da.
There he is.
Da, 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 da.
Thank you, Lama.
That's the sign language for love I learned by watching the movie Coda about the deaf family with the singer daughter. You might want to watch it. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie. That's, quote, out now, whatever out means in these days. Yes, it's a beautiful day here in Massachusetts. Hurricane weather. We had Bertrand on because Hurricane Henri is here with a downfall of blessings, and we're kind of on the French axis of evil, axis of goodness here today. I lived in France, so I appreciate it very much. And I love French things. I have some great French friends. I'm glad, Bertrand, you mentioned Afghanistan, because there are lessons here to be learned. And I'm not going to make a political pitch, but I was in Afghanistan in 1971 on my first overland trip to India, where two of the tallest Buddhas in the world were, which the Taliban destroyed in the 80s with artillery. And what's happening now is very unfortunate, reminiscent of the Vietnam debacle and the pullout and the embassy and the foreigners and the American employees who are Afghani and other people being trapped there. So let's pray for them and think about that and try to learn the lessons of history so we don't do it again. Whatever it is that's, making this so messy, complicated, and just tragic even. And I hope the tragedy doesn't become some kind of, minor genocide like of the Afghani women, for example, who are suffering already and disappearing and so on, getting clamped down on, especially in that anachronistic society that the Taliban lead, going back to the Sharia law of 14th century and things like that. It's a huge backward step. And Afghanistan was a beautiful, peaceful country. If you feel it's far away, think about Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava, who brought Tibetan Buddhism in Tibet in the year 712 AD from India. He was born in the Swat Valley of Pakistan, which is right next to Afghanistan. And that's considered a holy land. So we all relate to that. And it's a very sad situation. So let's have a moment of silence for all the war-torn zones, war zones in this world. There is shooting wars in 30 or 40 countries today. And send them wish them well, have compassion, feel with them, empathize. We're lucky in this country if we don't have war on this continent, since the Civil War at least. And the British and French, etc., Europeans know what we're talking about here. In any case, War is a horrible thing. And as a wise person said, and I forget which one, it may have been General Eisenhower, it may have been Churchill, it may have been Yogi Berra. He said, in war, there are no victors. Jancho Samcho Krimpoche Make Panam Ke Gyochik Ke Panyampa Me Payan Kane Kandu Pelwa Show. With the lamp of his enlightenment has been lit, may it blaze up, or it has not yet been lit, may it be ignited, may the seed be planted, may the Bodhi tree blossom within us and in the world for a better future, a better present, a better world to be possible, sustainable, including the environment and all who live in it, not just the human beings, but all interdependent, interconnected, interwoven, interbeing. It affects us all. And I bow to the Buddha, the light, the divine in your seat. Don't overlook them. Now breathing, relaxing, smiling, taking a vacation, as it were, from our ordinary preoccupations, even what I was just talking about, and coming home to the present moment, beyond memory, beyond future planning, just present, attentive, aware. What word should we use? Lucid, luminous, mindful rather than mindless. Awareful, awaring, presencing, in the presence, with a capital P. Letting things go, letting come and go, letting be, that's the secret. Buddhist meditation. Cultivating awareness, present awareness, mindful awareness, attentive presence of mind, if you must use a word, attentive presence of the heart mind, the fullness, the soulfulness, the citta, pure consciousness, not just thinking, including thinking, but beyond thinking, even mindful of thoughts, not to mention sensations in the body, and all the other perceptions, the doors of perception, sounds, sights, smells, tastes, etc. Touch. Mind the mind. Or from another point of view, don't bother your mind so much and it won't bother you. It's not the only thing that's going on here. Come down, descend from the ivory tower, the conning tower, your forehead and above your head, into the heart, into the oasis of the lower belly, the hara, the tentian, the energy center, the oasis, the richness of just being, of the senses, of feelings, of experiencing with or without thoughts, labels, concepts, comparisons, sensing without judgment or evaluation, what Buddhist texts called bare attention. Naked attention is Dzogchen called naked awareness. Not thinking about things in the world, not radiating lights, not sending loving kindness. That comes later. Just being. lean back a little into being rather than staggering forward in doing, achieving, and becoming, staggering forward on the treadmill of events under the momentum of conditioning. Step off the treadmill for a moment, for a half hour, for a Sunday, day of rest, a Sabbath. Make part of every day a Sabbath. You can rest at the origin of all things in the heart center, in the oasis, the center of your being. Some call it the crystal cave in the heart. Primordial Buddha Kuntazampo in your heart chakra, etc. Just assume your Buddha seat, being Buddha. Doing Buddha's work is being Buddha. Buddha is as Buddha does and is. You can't escape from it. There's no way out but in. In, beyond, inside, now, go deeper. Awareness, aware of awareness. Calm and clear, luminous, present awareness, moment to moment awareness, bare attention, choiceless awareness, not evaluating, pushing and pulling based on liking and disliking, simply aware of whatever momentarily presents itself, whatever arises in the body-mind continuum in the present moment, aware of it and watching it come and go like ripples on the sea, waves in the sea of being. Aware, with a capital A plus, aware of awareness, pure presence, Rigpa. Nowness awareness, the unfabricated, authentic Buddha within, Imaho. Enjoy the joy of Dzogchen meditation, the innate great perfection, just as it is, the natural state as you are right now. Whatever state you think you're in, that's included. So settle into it, drop everything. Imaho, wondrous, amazing. Thank you. Just sitting, just breathing, just being present, natural body, natural breath and energy, natural mind, natural heart, mind, the three naturals, three pillars of natural meditation, non-meditation, unmeditation, as we call it in Tibetan, non-meditation, beyond the polarity of meditating or not meditating. Simply continuity of awareness, cultivating continuous awareness, breath by breath, moment to moment, nowness awareness, pure presence, Rigpa, seeing through all temporary, dreamlike, evanescent forms and experiences, and resting in the nature of awareness itself. Calm, clear, at home. Come home to oneself. Assume your Buddha seat. Let go and let Buddha breathe. Let go and let Buddha aware through you. Imahu. How sweet it is. Thank you. Very good. Awareness is curative. Awareness is the higher power, the inner power, in the path of enlightenment known as Buddhism. The French mystic of the previous century, Simone Weil, no, not Nicole Biles, who's a master yogi and goddess in her own world, in her own lane. Simone Weil said, the essence of prayer is pure, undiluted attention. What a contemplative. Prayer is meditation, centering prayer, being in the presence of God, presence of the unknowable mystery, the whole, the one, or just pure presence, without a second, without an observer. Imaho. Enjoy the show. It's the best show. Hey, it's the only show in town. Dig it. everything, the display, the projection of awareness, Maya Lila Devi, the divine dance of illusion, of subjectivity. Not what happens, but what we make of it. That's what makes all the difference. It's not really happening to us. In a way, it's happening for us. And I don't mean egotistically, but we're projecting our experience through subjectivity. Just observing, aware of awareness, self-awareness, aware of awareness. Imaho. Wondrous. Eureka. Hallelujah. Amen. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes. If you want to intensify your gaze, maybe open your eyes. Gaze into your own eyes on screen. Get everybody else out of the way and all the voices in your mind, and just eye gazing, IYE. See how that is. See if the ego intrudes when you're looking at yourself. No one else is watching. We're not that important. We probably think of what other people think of us more than they think of us. Just think about that later. Gazing in your own eyes. You could do this with a partner. You could do this with a mirror. Here on Zoom, you can do it with yourself very easily. I won't suggest you gaze into my eyes, but it's been done. Meanwhile, that's what I'm doing. I'm gazing into my eyes and finding all of you reflected there, metaphorically, if not really. Gaze, penetrate, focus, concentrate, let everything else go, past and future, even meditation, just gazing, eye gazing, sky gazing, mirror-like awareness practice. And notice what comes up and what comes and goes. Just keep gazing deeper, focused, concentrate. There is an I in samadhi. Drop all pretense and just be yourself for once. Nobody else is watching, judging, thinking about you. Everybody's very busy with themselves. Have you noticed? Circulate your breath with yourself. 2 in 1, like yogi. Yabhyam. Breathing out and into your reflection, and then in again and out. Mutual reciprocity, circulating completely, not just linear, pulsating, interwoven energy, what is called penetration, interpenetration of the whole energy sheet being, transparent, translucent, transrealescence, the rainbow body, primordial Buddha-ness, represented as Kuntizampo, the Buddha, but the whole world, the whole threefold world, outer, inner, and subtlest, visible, invisible, and primordial, the 3 kayas. In this moment, pure gazing, pure process, pure presence. The lights are on, but no one's home. Imaho. Love it. Imaho. And enjoy the buoyant joy of Kuntizampo's meditation, the primordial Buddha. Pre-enlightenment. Ever fresh, every moment. Imaho. This is where the big ah comes in, this Dzogchen ah. Leave it to you, to the wizards of ahs. To sound it, resound it, just dissolve into it, just play with it, just be it. Ah. The first letter of the alphabet, A. No need for a second. In this. Aha. Unfocus your eyes. Start to see double or triple and dissolve your reference points. Who or what is experiencing a seeing being? Oh, it's getting all furry. Settle into the infinite awareness, infinite wakefulness, the great crystal ball, the ultimate sphere of pure being, luminous, complete, radiant, profound, delightful. Go for it now. Let yourself go. Thank you. Eye gazing, sky gazing, connect, dissolving and connecting at the same time. Emptiness and innate wakefulness or awareness inseparable. Openness and awareness inseparable. In the natural great completeness of things left just as they are. The nirvanic peace and harmony, natural flow of things left just as they are. Imaho. What a relief. What a release to have arrived at last. Nothing more to do, figure out, or achieve. Imaho. Nothing to remember. Memory is the crazy glue that keeps our sense of self and identity together. Useful, but not always entirely necessary. Imaho. Bertrand, could we see the four Bodhisattva prayers from the Japanese, that page? There it is, four Bodhisattva vows. All together now, if you wish, join in or just let it echo and resonate in you and think about it. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to transcend them. Dharma teachings are boundless. We vow to realize them. The Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. And then down to the page with Khenpo's dedication prayer and the Millennium Prayer, please. Through the merit, the good karma of this virtuous practice, may the light of the Buddha's precious teaching remain for ages to come. The basis for every single kind of benefit and happiness, worldly and spiritual, and in between. May all the supreme holders of the teachings who uphold this living truth agree to live on for aeons in this floating world, this dewdrop-like world, and their lotus feet stand firm. And so may the sun of altruism and well-being, bodhicitta, in all its blazing splendor, shine the brilliant light of the study and practice of Buddha Dharma throughout every corner of the universe. And the new millennium prayer. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world, tolerance, kindness, and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famines, droughts, earthquakes, and all kinds of natural disasters. May we all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. And may we better prepare ourselves for the natural calamities that beset us all. May we all together complete this gorgeous spiritual journey all the way home. one beloved community, one circle, one family, one sadhaka, one satsang, one samaya, one, all the way, Om. Again, bowing to the Buddha-ness in your seat, don't overlook it. People seem to look for God or the higher power or something everywhere, but where it's closest, inside themselves. Thus, the Buddha nature, the Buddha within, is the message of the enlightened teacher called Buddha, the compassionate Buddha, as they called him in India. Let go and let Buddha do it through you. Why not? Who do you think you are? Or assume you're Buddha seat for that matter. Who do you think you are not? A little confusion going on about oneself and the nature of identity and relation of self and others. Check it out. So I've been giving some instructions today in different stages of meditation. I'd like to hear from you for any questions you might have before we log off.
Thank you, Lama. Any questions you can put directly in the chat and send to me. And while we're waiting, we do have one that has come up from Steve. Steve says, I recently read an article about how the term awareness is now being substituted for enlightenment. Is it any rose by another name, or is it something more?
Read it again. It says the word awakefulness is being substituted for enlightenment. You know, Lama knows all. Lama reads all articles. This is a very old discussion. For one side, you could say it's rose by any other name. On the other side, you might get into the nuances of Buddhist thought and practice. That awareness is more like consciousness and enlightenment is more like the fulfillment or the fruit of the path. So those things are a little different. What I would say is, rather than taking sides in that, I'm going to say many of us Westerners, practitioners, teachers, scholars, since it has come to the West in let's say since the 1950s, although it came in the 1800s and the early 1900s, we heard the word enlightenment a lot, and people have backed off on that very, very high ideal and talk more about, the enlightened life or mindful life, compassionate life, awakefulness, awareness, and things like that. All schools of Buddhism, the goal is enlightenment. There's no way around that, historically and doctrinally. But, today in our very postmodern, secular, deconstructed, flattened out of most hierarchies as possible society, having such a lofty goal, not just goal, but talking about it so much, like, enlightenment experiences that you had in your practice or something, it may or may not really be like enlightenment like the Buddha had, but it may be a spiritual epiphany, a breakthrough, a moment of personal insight. There's a lot of what did Abraham Maslow, the great psychologist of these things, call it peak experiences. Not just the best sex you ever had, but peak experiences where you're the best self is, you find out there's a there, whatever you call it. And that's where a rose by any other name is still as sweet. But even there may be some distinctions. For example, in traditional Buddhism, there's 3 kinds of enlightened people. You can look it up. There's the Arhat of the Theravada Buddhism, the root vehicle, the original teachings, which from our point of view in Tibetan Buddhism, we consider the 8th Bhumi, and it's the uprooting of all kileshas and the end of suffering. But it's still not Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, full awakened, unexcelled, irreversible enlightenment, Buddhahood. So there's the Arhat, the liberated saint, Arhat. Second, there's the Pratyeka Buddha, the self-finder who awakens without teachers and teachings. maybe J. Krishnamurti is an example of that, maybe not, who knows. Anyway, it's rare. And the third one is the Buddha, fully enlightened, unexcelled, perfect, irreversible enlightenment, Samyak Sambuddha, Amanatara Samyak Sambodhi. So even in the Buddhist scriptures, there's 3 levels or 3 role models of enlightenment based on their different paths or arrival stage. So from our point of view, like the Dalai Lama says, there's really no benefit to count, argue about how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, like argue about whether heaven and nirvana are the same. From our point of view, how about whether, we have a unhappy, immoral life or a happy, moral life, functional, healthy life and family and work and relations and world, not whether the far distance goal is the same. So yes, in fact, it's a good scholarly point that people are using the word awakefulness for enlightenment. And that's a little bit of conflating or putting together 2 things, but there is always overlap. And moreover, the important thing is that I want to make is that innate awakefulness in Tibetan, in Dzogchen Rigpa, is said to be the enlightened state. Now, that may not be full, unexcelled, perfect, irreversible enlightenment. This is scholarly point. Leave it to the theologians, the Buddhologians to, fight it out. Buddhism is a non-aggressive religion, but leave it to the rabbis and theologians to fight it out. Thank you. Also, when we read these things, these are really scholarly studies and points, so we should reread them carefully. And the definition of terms is very important. What terms they're using and how and why. Like in this case, there's a difference between enlightenment, awakefulness, and awareness. Is there another question, Kelly? Or is it time for the last rites?
It is time. Mr. Menla has a point of view on that, so
Menla, our admiral, yes.
thank you so
Keeping
much.
the schedule. Thank you, Menla.
And for those of you looking for more of Lama Surya, we have the masterclass coming up on September 18th. This particular class is on the 5 precious endowments. Essentially, how do we be right here, right now with the tools that we have? And then we'll take us deeper with that. And as always, you can go to Dzogchen Foundation to donate. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thank you, dear Lama.
Thank you, Kelly, and all of you helpmates and volunteers and all of you who are here practicing together. It's so beautiful. Thank you. Happy trails. Be well, stay healthy.